Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Intermediate Second Year webinar series of Telangana State Model Schools. Today, in the physics webinar, our presenter D.V. Ramana Rao, Sir, PGT Physics, Telangana Model School, Elagandal, is with us to present the second session of current electricity. In the previous session, Sir has introduced the phenomenon of current electricity and the various terms related to current electricity and the most important Ohm's law. And also he discussed about the limitations of Ohm's law. In today's session, Sir will be discussing more about Ohm's law and the various terms involved of the various terms of current electricity to represent Ohm's law, and also about resistivity and the resistance in parallel as well as in series. Sir, welcome, sir. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, madam.
Please take over the session.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. So good morning, children. And good morning to Shailaja madam and all the higher officials for giving me this opportunity. So dear children, I hope you understood well about the introduction of current electricity in the last class. So I introduced the terminology related to current electricity, and after that, Ohm's law and limitations of Ohm's law and what is a resistor, and all these things we discussed in the last class, right? So let us try to review what we learned in the last class, children. So I introduced the concept of electric current, and in conductors, how electric current is going to flow and what are the responsible charge carriers in conductors. What are the carriers, children? Yes, electrons. The free electrons are the responsible charge carriers in conductors. Then Ohm's law. Just it is an empirical formula relating potential difference and current in various conductors. And drift electrons and resistivity. Drift electrons means a very small amount of constant velocity after the application of the electric field. And resistivity also we define. And the most important concept, limitations of Ohm's law. So these are the topics that what we covered in the last class. Right, children? The key formulae. What are the formulae we learned in the last class? A very important formulae for numericals in board examinations and as well as to solve numericals in competitive exams, all India entrance exams. I is equals to Q by T. Current is equals to charge upon time. And what is J, children? Yes, current density. So it is a vector. Current density is equals to current per unit area passing normal to the cross section. And V is equals to IR, the most important equation for the entire chapter. So we are going to use it everywhere. In every concept, we are going to have an importance of Ohm's law. V is equals to IR, not only in this chapter, throughout electricity. So V is equals to IR is the mathematical form of Ohm's law. In this one, potential difference is a scalar and current is a scalar. Remember, children, a very important thing. V is equals to IR. R is proportionality constant. V, potential difference, is a scalar. I, electric current, is a scalar. So Ohm's law, which is expressed in scalar form here. So all the quantities are scalars. That is important, children. Next, coming to the resistance formula, R is equal to rho into L by A. So already we learned how it came. And conductivity is equal to reciprocal of resistivity. And relation between electric current and drift velocity, I is equals to NEA VD. So while revising this concept, you pause the video and you make a note of all the formulae. So these are very important formulae for entrance examinations. So these are the key formulae. Now what we are going to learn in today's session. Right, children? Are you ready? So we are going to learn these concepts today. Ohm's law in terms of J and E. So as I explained, we learn Ohm's law in terms of V and I. V is equals to IR. And we have to know what is Ohm's law in terms of J and E. What is J? Current density. What is E? Electric field intensity. Both are vectors. We learned about J in this chapter, current electricity, and already we learned about electric field in the previous chapter. So we are going to explain the Ohm's law in a microscopic view, that is with the help of J and E in vector form. Ohm's law on the basis of electron drift and mobility of electrons. We are going to learn what is mobility and how resistivity depends on temperature and type of resistors, different types of resistors that what we are going to use in laboratories and domestic purpose, and resistor color codes. This is such an interesting topic, and combination of resistors. So we know series and parallel combination of resistors. So dear children, we are going to focus on these concepts today, right? Shall we move? Shall we move, children? Yes. So first topic is Ohm's law in terms of J and E. Both are vectors, J bar and E bar. So how we can derive Ohm's law in terms of J bar and E bar? So this is all about more mathematics with the help of physics. We are going to simplify a lot of things here. Children, concentrate. We know V is equals to I into R or R into I. What is this? This is Ohm's law. V is equals to IR is Ohm's law. Potential difference is equals to resistance into current. And in electrostatics, we learned that E is equals to V by L, relation between electric field and potential. The most important topic over there. So from that, we can write V. We can write V as E into L, right? So V is equals to E into L. Then R. We know R is equal to rho into L by A. This also we learned in the last class. R is equals to rho into L by A into I. So just we are substituting V is equals to EL, R is equal to rho into L by A into I. See children, L and L are going to cancel. Then E is equals to rho by A into I. So as you know, I by A is equals to, on right hand side, you see the third equation, right hand side, we have I and A. So I by A, what is I by A? Current upon area of cross section. Yes, it is current density. So E is equals to rho into I by A is J. So electric field is a vector and J is a vector. So E bar is equal to rho into J bar. So this is Ohm's law in terms of E bar and J bar. Right, children? Next, E is equal to rho into J. As you know, rho is equals to 1 upon sigma or sigma is equals to 1 upon rho, because they are related in that way. Resistivity is reciprocal of conductivity, or conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. So rho is equals to 1 by sigma, or sigma is equals to 1 by rho. So I am substituting rho as 1 by sigma. What is sigma here? Sigma is conductivity. So J, I am simplifying the above equation. J is equal to sigma into E. So this is also the relation between J and E. This is also known as Ohm's law, because we derived basically all these two equations from first equation, that is V is equals to IR. What is V is equal to IR? We already defined it as Ohm's law. So from V is equals to IR, we derived E bar is equal to rho into J bar and J bar is equals to sigma into E bar. So these two are going to be the Ohm's law in terms of J and E. In both the equations, you can see E and J are there. E is equal to rho J and J is equal to sigma into E in vector forms. Right, children? Every formula is there on the slide. So you can pause the video while you are revising and you can make a note of all these formulae, including derivations. Right, children? Now, how Ohm's law can be defined or can be derived on the basis of electron drift. This is the microscopic view. First, we define Ohm's law in macroscopic view, that is V is proportional to I. Then in terms of current and electric field and current density. Now Ohm's law on the basis of electron drift. As you know, drift means what? A very slow velocity provided to electrons. You can see electrons on the slide. These are all the electrons. And I took a conductor and I applied potential difference. One side positive plate, you can see that is plus Q, and other side negative Q. So electric field is towards negative charge, starting from positive to negative charge. That already you know. So now let us see, children, in which direction these electrons are going to move. Electrons are going to move towards positive charge. So electrons are moving towards positive charge. So force is going to act on the electrons. The force is applied by whom? Force is applied by the electric field, because electric field is acting here. So that electric field is going to apply the force. Now let us see what is that force. We learned in electrostatics, force is equal to EQ, a very important formula. Force acting on a charge because of the electric field. F bar is equals to E bar into E. What is E here? Charge of electron. So here E is the charge of electron. You have to understand the terms here, right? F is force, E is electric field intensity, and small e is charge of electron. Now, let us try to derive the Ohm's law. As you know, F is equals to E into E. First, I am deriving with vector, with the scalar notation. Then we will write it in vectors. F is equals to E into E. And what is the formula for acceleration? We learned in mechanics. The formula for acceleration is force upon mass, force acting on electrons by electron mass. And acceleration is equals to F by m. F is equals to what? You can see here, F is equals to E into E. So I am substituting F is equal to E into E here. So E into E by m. Let this is equation number 1. And yes, so what is the velocity of these electrons, the drift velocity of the electrons? So they are accelerating. The acceleration is uniform. So V is equal to U plus AT. U is 0, initial velocity. So if you substitute, V is drift velocity and A is acceleration and T is average time. Average time means time taken between the two collisions. Already we discussed this in the last class. So just I am substituting V is equal to U plus AT, V with drift velocity and T with relaxation time. Now, drift velocity is equals to, already from equation 1, what is equation 1? Acceleration is E by m. So substitute acceleration as E by m into tau. Let this is equation number 2. Now another familiar formula for us, I is equals to NEA into drift velocity. This is also we derived in the last class. Now I am going to substitute drift velocity in this equation from equation number 2. So I is equals to NEA. See children, from equation 2, so all of you see equation 2, what is there? Drift velocity is E by m into T. So this is equation number 2. So from equation number 2, I am substituting VD as E by m into tau. So coming simplification part, is equals to, just I am simplifying, n into E square. You can follow children, E into E square and relaxation time tau by mass m into area of cross section and electric field intensity. So then in the next step, E square tau by m into A into again Again, we are using electric field intensity is equals to V by L. E is equals to V by D or V by L, where L is the length of the conductor. Here V is the potential difference across the conductor and L is the length of the conductor. Now, I am dividing area with electric current. Is it right? Here area is there. So I am transposing this area to this side, left hand side. So I by A is equals to N E square tau by M into V. It should be V actually. I'll correct it. Let this be equation number 3. So this is equals to J is equals to I by A is equals to J. J is equal to sigma into E. Is it right? So this is already we discussed, this is Ohm's law. So we derived Ohm's law from the concept of drift velocity. So this is equation number 4. So from equations 3 and 4, you can see children, from equations 3 and 4, sigma is equals to, what is sigma? You can see if you compare equation 3 and 4, I by A is equal to J, E is equals to E in vector form. Then we replaced Ne square tau by M with sigma. So sigma is equals to Ne square tau by M. So this is the formula for conductivity, right? So conductivity is going to depend on these factors. M and E are constant, so it is going to depend only on N and tau. A very important analysis you have to understand here, because most of the questions are going to ask in various competitive examinations based on these formulae. And what is resistivity? Resistivity is the reciprocal of conductivity. So if you take the reciprocal of this equation, you'll get resistivity. So this is the most important formula. So how resistivity is going to depend on temperature, how resistivity is going to, how resistivity is not going to depend on length and area. So this, with this equation you can learn. So we have only relaxation time, no length, no area. Is there any length and area in this formula? No. So resistivity is independent of length and area of cross section. So resistivity depends only on relaxation time. So you can make a note of this formula, children. Rho is equals to M by N E square tau. Rho, resistivity, M, mass, N, number of charge carriers per unit volume, E, charge of electron, tau, relaxation time. So I mentioned all these terms in the last class. That's why I'm not writing the terms separately. Right, children? So this is the formula for resistivity. So our concept is deriving Ohm's law from drift velocity. So this is Ohm's law. So equation 4, J bar is equal to sigma into E bar is Ohm's law. So we derived Ohm's law from the concept of drift velocity. Right? Now another important concept, mobility. You can understand the concept of mobility with the term itself, mobilization of the charges. So electric field is going to apply the force on the charge carriers, that is going to accelerate the charge carriers. So how the electric field is going to mobilize the charge carriers is known as mobility. Because of the application of the electric field, the electrons are going to attain drift velocity. So how drift velocity is going to be affected with electric field intensity? So how they are going to mobilize, that is known as mobility. So that is the concept of mobility, right, children? Mobilization means what? We have to make them to move. We have to mobilize the electrons to move. Is it right? So as far as mathematical definition is concerned, magnitude of drift velocity per unit electric field. Magnitude of drift velocity per unit electric field. That means drift velocity by unit electric field. So mobility is represented with symbol mu. Mu stands for mobility. Mu is equals to drift velocity, magnitude of drift velocity. Okay. Division of vectors is not possible. Drift velocity is a vector and electric field is also a vector. You are not supposed to divide two vectors. Division of vectors is not defined. So that's why we have to take the magnitude of drift velocity. So magnitude of drift velocity by electric field intensity. So that is known as mobility. So in current electricity, we are not going to have much importance of mobility, whereas we are going to have a lot of importance for mobility in semiconductors that we are going to learn in coming chapters. So semiconductor chapters, the mobility is going to play a very important role. So here only for the definition we are learning, for the sake of definition, we are learning the drift velocity here. That's what mobility. And what are the units? You can write the units with the help of the formula. So what are the units for drift velocity? Meter per second. And what is the formula for electric field? Volt per meter. So if you simplify meter second inverse and volt meter inverse, this is meter square into volt second, meter square per volt into second. So this is the unit for what? Mobility. The unit for mobility is meter square by volt into second. These electricity units and dimensions are very important for competitive exams, especially JEE and MSET examinations. They'll ask most of the questions based on electricity only, units and dimensions. So in that point of view, the mobility is also very important as far as dimensions are concerned, units and dimensions. Let us try to write this dimension. You can try it, right? Now the formula is drift velocity by electric field intensity. And let us try to substitute drift velocity. As you know, what is drift velocity? In the previous case, we learned drift velocity is E into E by M into tau. This is drift velocity. The total term, this is drift velocity. Mu is equals to E by M into tau. E by M into tau is drift velocity and into 1 by E. So you can cancel E and E. So finally, you can write mobility in terms of relaxation time also. So mu is equals to E into average time or relaxation time upon mass of the electron. Right? So this is the significance of mobility in current electricity. Right, children? So you make a note of the formula. This formula and dimensions and units are very important for exam. Coming to another important and interesting session. Temperature dependence of resistivity. So in the last class, we learned resistivity is not going to depend on length and area. A very important point. Temperature is not going to depend on length and area. Geometrical conditions, independent. It is not going to depend. But on what factors it depends? Yes, it depends on nature of the material and temperature. So we are going to understand how the resistivity depends on temperature and nature now. So that is our topic. So as I told, this is a very important formula in the previous topic. Resistivity. You make a note of this formula in your notebook also, children, because while I am teaching, frequently this formula will come. Resistivity rho is equals to M by N E square tau. The most important formula. Rho is equals to M by N E square tau. Now for conductors, first we will see how temperature dependence, how resistivity is going to depend on temperature for conductors, especially in case of metals. So for metals, N is almost all, approximately N is constant. What is N? Number of electrons per unit volume. Number of electrons per unit volume. N is number of electrons per unit volume. That means if a conductor is given, if this is a conductor, so how many electrons are there in a given volume? some millions of electrons are going to present. So that is N. So how many electrons are present in a given volume? That is N. Right, children? And coming to relaxation time. Already we discussed relaxation time decreases with temperature. So it needs a bit explanation, children. Try to understand. So this is a conductor. This is a conductor and these are the electrons. And of course, positive lattice. So this electron at some 20 degrees centigrade, say for example, this is moving and colliding with the atoms. If you increase the temperature, what happens? If you increase the temperature from 20 to 50, then these are going to move with high velocity. Is it right? Because of the increase in kinetic energy, they are going to move with more velocity. As velocity is increases means they are moving with less time. They are moving fast. As temperature increases, they are moving fast. That's why relaxation time decreases. So relaxation time decreases with temperature. So as temperature increases, relaxation time decreases. Understood, children? If you increase the temperature from 20 to 50, they are going to take much less time to move because they will move fast because increase in the kinetic energy. Okay. So this is how the relaxation time decreases with temperature. So now we will see here we have relaxation time in the denominator and resistivity in the numerator. So these two are inversely proportional because m is constant, mass is always constant for a given material and charge of electron is constant. Number of electrons we defined n is constant for metals. So what are the remaining quantities? Rho and tau. So rho is inversely proportional to tau. So rho is inversely proportional to relaxation time. Now listen children, relaxation time decreases with temperature. So temperature increases, relaxation time decreases. Relaxation time decreases. What happened to resistivity? Resistivity increases because these two are inversely proportional. So resistivity will increase. So this is the concept. As temperature increases, relaxation time decreases, resistivity increases. So this is the temperature dependence of resistivity. Understood, children? Now, coming to the next, how this is going to be explained with the help of graph. So the conclusion is resistivity of a conductor increases with temperature. The final point is important. The last point, resistivity of a conductor increases with temperature. So as temperature increases, the resistivity of conductor increases. Okay. Now, how it is going to depend, the resistivity, how it is going to depend on temperature. So mathematically, by conducting experiments, so they found that this is the variation. So rho T is equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. This is how the resistivity depends on temperature. So what is rho T? Let us see, children. This is the formula for alpha. So from the above equation, we can find rho T is equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. So how we got that equation? You can, I'm going to simplify now how we got that equation. So let us see. So this is the actual variation. Rho at T temperature is equals to rho at 0 degrees temperature into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. So this is the variation. resistivity at T temperature, resistivity at 0 temperature in kelvins. And what is alpha? Temperature coefficient of resistivity. This is very, very important. So now I'm going to derive how it came. So rho T is equals to rho naught into 1 rho naught plus rho naught into alpha into T minus T naught. So rho T and this plus V naught will become minus rho naught. This is equals to rho naught into alpha into T minus T naught. So from this rho T minus rho naught divided by this rho naught is equals to alpha into T minus T naught. So finally, therefore, alpha is equals to, this alpha is equals to what? Rho T minus rho naught by rho naught into T minus T naught. So this is the formula, which is this. In first year, you learn similar type of concept in heat. Alpha is equals to, I think you might have remember this one. Alpha is equals to L2 minus L1 by L1 into T2 minus T1. A very important formula. Coefficient of linear expansion, change in length, original length, rise in temperature. You can compare this. That means with temperature, length increases. With temperature, resistivity increases. There, this is coefficient of linear expansion. Here it is coefficient of temperature coefficient of resistivity. So you can see on the screen, children. So I derived how alpha is rho T minus rho naught by rho naught into T minus T naught. So this is actually variation, how the resistivity varies with temperature. So this is the equation. So you can make a note of this, children, because it is very important equation. Now try to see what is rho naught. Rho naught is resistivity at T temperature. Rho T means resistivity at T temperature. Rho naught is at 0 Kelvin. And alpha, very important. Alpha is temperature coefficient of resistivity. Now, definition of resistivity. You can see this is the definition of resistivity. So you can easily define what is the numerator. Numerator is you see alpha equation. Alpha is equal to rho T minus rho naught by rho naught into T minus T naught. What is there in the numerator? Change in resistivity. What is there in the denominator? Original resistance and temperature rise. That's it. So the ratio of change in resistivity to original resistivity for 1 degree centigrade rise in temperature. So this is the definition of alpha, temperature coefficient of resistivity. So everything you can define for resistance also. Same what we are defining for resistivity, you can replace with resistance also, because resistance is proportional to L and A. From that we'll define R is equals to rho into L by A. So R and rho, same kind of variations. Okay, children. So you can write in terms of resistance also. RT is equals to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. This is how resistance varies. In the above equation, how resistivity varies. Both are going to vary in the same manner. Now, detailed explanation of temperature dependence of resistivity. So we are going to define first conductors. So how the conductor's resistivity depends on temperature. So it is different for different type of materials. First we will see conductors. How resistivity depends on temperature, especially for conductors. Very important point. Directly this question asked in JEE. This concept based on this one. For conductors, alpha is positive. So what does it mean? Alpha is positive. What is the meaning of alpha is positive? So you have to understand what is alpha first. So what is alpha? Alpha is equals to rho t minus rho naught by rho naught into t minus t naught. Alpha is positive, means this should be positive. Understand, children? Alpha is positive means this should be positive. Rho t minus rho naught should be positive. So rho t minus rho naught is greater than 0. Positive means greater than 0. So rho t should be greater than rho naught. That means resistivity at T temperature is more than resistivity at 0 temperature. That's why alpha is positive. So for conductors, alpha is positive. This is always positive, right? So this is how alpha can be positive for conductors, right, children? So for conductors, alpha is positive. Now we'll see with the help of graph. So how alpha is going to be defined with the help of graph for conductors. So this is x-axis and y-axis, a coordinate system, and origin. See, children, carefully. And on x-axis, we are taking temperature in kelvins, and y-axis resistivity. That too in a very small scale. You can see 10 power minus 8. 10 power minus 8 means very, very small. 0.00000001. So very small multiple. And 50, 100, 200, 0.2 and 0.4. These are the coordinates, temperature, respective temperature and resistivity values. Now for conductors, this graph is very important, children. For conductors, how the resistivity is going to vary with temperature. See, children. So this is going to vary in this way. You can see once again. So in lower temperature regions, lower temperature region means in this region, in a very low temperature region from 0 to 50, you can see from 0 to 50 lower temperature region, it is almost all a straight line. This graph is almost all a straight line. And after increasing the temperature, it is deviating the straight line. So for metals, for lower temperature order, the variation will be almost all linear. Okay. And for higher temperatures only, it is deviating. So alpha is positive, but for lower temperatures, that variation is going to be almost all a straight line. Okay. You can see the variation is almost all a straight line for lower temperatures. Till 50, it is a straight line. After that, it is deviating from its path. Okay, children. So that is what we are going to learn now. So the graph is a straight line at much lower temperatures. At much lower temperatures, you can see in the diagram from 0 to 50, it is almost all a straight line. Okay. And for higher temperatures, it is going to deviate. So deviates from a straight line at higher temperatures. So this is the concept you have to understand for conductors. So alpha, for conductors, alpha, is it positive or negative? Yes, it is positive. How? For small temperatures, the variation is linear. And for higher temperatures, it deviates from the linear variation. Right, children? Now let us see how the other kind of materials depends. Temperature dependence of resistivity, standard resistors. So standard resistors means what? They are going to use in the manufacturing of laboratory resistors. Standard resistors means what? They are going to use for the experiments. Various kind of electronic devices. That means electrical devices, not electronic devices. Electrical devices like meter bridge, potentiometer. We are going to learn about all these things in coming classes. So in those, the wires, especially the wires, are going to made with standard resistors. So we'll see in standard resistors, alpha is very, very, very small. Alpha is very small means what? Almost all alpha is not changing. So alpha is very small. Means you can see the variation. Temperature in Kelvin and resistivity in ohm centimeter. Here we are taking it in centimeters, even small. And temperature ranges are 200 Kelvin, 400 Kelvin and 600 Kelvin. You can see the graph. But resistivities are changing for a very small range. It is 1.1 only. It is 1.2 only. So the variation is a straight line variation for standard resistors. You can see this is the variation. And you can see at 200 Kelvin, it is 1.1, and at 600 also, it is 1.2 only. So even in the range of 400 degrees Kelvin, the variation is only 0.1. You can see, children, clearly from the graph, the variation is very, very small. At 200, it is 1.1. At 0, it is 1.1. At 600, it is 1.2. That means even in the range of 600 Kelvin temperature difference, the resistivity is changing only 0.1. That we cannot take into account. So that's why these are used for the construction of standard resistors. So resistance values change by very small amount with temperature. This is the important point. Resistance values change by very small amount with temperature. Temperature changes in a large scale, but resistance is going to change only 0.1. You can see 1.1 and 1.2. The change will be only 0.1. But whereas temperature change will be 400 Kelvin. So for 400 to 600 change in temperature, the resistance change will be only 0.1. Now you can see. So what are the examples for standard resistors? So nichrome. Nichrome is an alloy. Nickel, chromium, manganese. Nichrome is an alloy which is the combination of metals, nickel, chromium and manganese. This is used in electric iron especially. So nichrome, manganese, constantan are used for making standard resistors. A very important 2 marks question. And for competitive exams also. Why these materials, nichrome, manganese and constantan are used for making standard resistors? Why they are used? Means the answer is in the above line. Resistance values change by very small amount with temperature. That's it. That is the answer. Their resistance changes by very small amount with temperature. Even in a large temperature variation, their temperature is not going to change in a much difference. So this is the answer for that question, right, children? So this is about standard resistors. So everything is there on the picture. You can see. So this is how temperature dependence resistivity for standard resistors. Coming for semiconductors, temperature dependence of resistivity for semiconductors. So you don't worry, children, semiconductors is a separate chapter for us. We are going to discuss detailedly everything about semiconductors in that chapter. But right now, our discussion is only how temperature dependence of resistivity for semiconductors, right? So, interesting thing. For semiconductors, alpha is negative. For conductors, alpha is positive. We learned already. For conductors, alpha is positive. For standard resistors, alpha is negligible, almost all very small. But for semiconductors, alpha is negative. Alpha is negative means what? With temperature, resistivity decreases. So already you know the formula for alpha. So what is the formula for alpha? What is the formula for alpha? Yes, children. Formula for alpha is equal to rho at t minus rho naught by rho naught into t minus t naught. So what we are saying for semiconductors, alpha is negative. Alpha is negative means this should be negative. So rho T minus rho naught less than 0. That means rho T less than rho naught. That means temperature at T temperature, that's what, resistivity at T temperature is less than at 0. That means at T temperature, resistivity is less than at 0. So with temperature, resistivity is decreasing. So for semiconductors, with temperature, the resistivity is going to decrease in this way. So this is the explanation. So how interesting, children, you can see from this formula, we can explain everything. Why for metals it is positive, why for standard resistors it is very small, why for semiconductors it is negative. Okay. Now you can see with the help of a graph. So take temperature on x-axis and resistivity on y-axis. With temperature, resistivity decreases. You can see it is decreasing. Initially it has high value, gradually it is decreasing. This is not a linear variation again. Which kind of variation it is? It is a rectangular hyperbola. So the variation between resistivity and temperature. And we'll see the resistivity decreases with temperature. This is important point in this session. The resistivity decreases with temperature. And what are the uses of semiconductors? Where we are going to use these semiconductors? So you can see all of you are familiar with LED bulbs. So LED means what? Light emitting diode. LED means light emitting diode. So in LEDs, the components are semiconductors. In smartphones, most of the what you call chips, most of the chips are going to made with semiconductors. And computers, of course, computers is all the components in the computers are made up of semiconductors. So we are going to discuss detailedly about semiconductors in the coming chapters. So meanwhile, all these are familiar for you, LEDs, smartphones and computers. So in these, we are going to use semiconductors where resistivity decreases with temperature. Right, children? Now, coming to another interesting concept, types of resistors. So already we know what is resistor, what is the symbol for resistor, and what are the units for resistor. Ohm is the unit for resistance. So types of resistors. So commercially produced resistors, how many types? Let us see, children. So we can use these resistors for domestic purpose and as well as for the laboratory purpose. So domestic use and as well as laboratory use. So we can classify the types of resistors broadly into two types. One is wire bound resistors. The first one is wire bound resistors. And the second one is carbon resistors. See, children, the first one is wire bound resistors and the second one is carbon resistors. So let us see what are wire bound resistors. You can see in the diagram, you can have a hollow metallic cylindrical metal frame. On that metal, a wire is bounded. You can see a wire is bounded. So that is known as a wire bound resistor. So these wire bound resistors are going to be used in standard resistors in laboratories like that. So carbon resistors, these are the carbon resistors. You can see in most of the electronic shops, you can see these kind of components which are going to be used in LEDs and computers. So these are carbon resistors. So you can see in the picture clearly how they are going to be wire bound resistors and carbon resistors. So carbon resistors are compact, inexpensive, they are very cheap, whereas wire bound resistors are expensive. Okay. And wire bound resistors are standard resistors for the manufacturing of for the construction of standard resistors like manganese and constantan, these wire bound resistors are going to be used. And whereas carbon is the component which is used in the preparation of carbon resistors. So almost all carbon is going to have some semiconducting nature also. Some typical properties that carbon is going to play. And then these are insensitive to temperature. Already we learned manganese and constantan are what? Standard resistors. So these standard resistors are not going to vary their properties much with temperature. So they are insensitive to temperature. They are going to change, they are not going to change their properties much with temperature. That is the reason why we are calling it as standard. Standard means they are maintaining the same kind of characteristics. And coming to this one, these resistors are going to depend on temperature, right? Because carbon is going to have a semiconducting nature in semiconductors chapter, so it depends on temperature. And this is going to be used in the preparation of standard resistors, and carbon resistors are widely used in electronic circuits. So this is all about the types of resistors in domestic and as well as for laboratory uses. Understood, children? So wire bound resistors and carbon resistors. Now carbon resistors. We are going to discuss detailedly about carbon resistors. So this is one kind of carbon resistor. The interesting thing is you can see different beautiful colors. On every resistor you can see different colors. So this is going to have another set of colors. First one is one carbon resistor, the second one is another. Both are different. Of course, they seems to be same in shape, but their colors are different. You can see, observe carefully. Yeah, you can see beautiful colors again. In the third picture, every resistor is going to have the same color combination, but that is different from first and second. So you have different colors on the carbon resistors. And you can see, so different colors over there on the surface of the carbon resistor. So what is the significance of this color? So on the surface of carbon resistors, what is the importance of these colors? Is there any significance for this color? Or only for the purpose of seeming beautiful, they are given the colors? No. The color is going to have its own significance. The color, with the help of the color, we can calculate the resistance of that resistor. How interesting it is, you can see. With the help of the colors on the resistor, we can say what is the resistance of that conductor or what is the resistance of that resistor. By seeing the color only, we can say what is the resistance. So that is our next topic. Ready, children? Resistor color codes. So what are the different colors indicates and how to calculate the resistance with the help of the color. Now, I have a metallic cylinder here. See, children, observe carefully. This is red color, the first one, R is red. The second one is also red color, R. And the third one is also a red color, R, triple R, right? And the next one is silver. So we can see four colors. As we saw in the previous cases, different colors for the resistors. I am taking this as an example. So now we have to calculate what is the resistance of this resistor with these colors. We have four colors, right? What is the significance of these colors also? I'll explain now. Listen carefully, children. Red, 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 and silver. Four colors are there. So what is each color indicates and what is the significance of each color? I'll explain now. So this is a color code table. No need of remembering this table. Already I have given the table here. Color and the code, the value for that particular color, children. You can see on the screen, black color starting from black. So black code is 0. For brown, it is 1. First starting from black, because more B letters will be there. Black 0, then brown 1, red color 2, orange 3, yellow 4, green 5, blue color 6, violet 7, gray colors 8, white color 9. These are the different codes for different colors. And for the fourth color, that is what, gold, silver and none. So this is for tolerance. I'll explain what is tolerance. Gold, silver and none. None means fourth color, it can be gold, it can be silver, it can be no color. For our discussion, fourth one is silver, but sometimes it may be none, no color. So first 3 colors are from the first 9, and the fourth color is going to be either gold or silver or none. So this is the color table, children. Now we will try to calculate what is the resistance of this one. Observe carefully. First digit, in the first digit of resistance, you have to take the first color. First color is red. So red is, you can see the table. From the table, red is 2. The code for red is 2. So first digit means what? First color, that is red color. Red color code is 2. So we have to write first digit as 2. I'll explain detailedly. See. Second digit for resistance, we have to take the second color. Second color is red. The number is again 2. Third digit is a multiplier. So what is multiplier? I'll explain. So first digit is red 2, second digit is red 2, third digit is multiplier, that is also red, the number is 2. That is multiplier means 10 power 2. So we have to write that particular color code as a power of 10. That is, it is multiplier, 10 power 2. Okay, first digit is the color of that, the code of that color. Second digit, code of that color. Third digit, 10 power code of that color. So what is first color? Red. So first digit is red 2. Second digit red 2. Third digit 10 power 2, because third is also red. Next, fourth digit is tolerance. Fourth digit is tolerance, that is silver. So what is the tolerance for silver? You can see in the table. For silver, the tolerance is how much? It is 10%, plus or minus 10. You don't worry about tolerance, because tolerance means up to what extent it can bear the temperature and all these things. So only our purpose is what is the resistance, how to calculate the resistance. Okay, so now concentrate, children. I am going to explain how to calculate the resistance, right? So first you write the first digit. So what is the first digit? 2. Now write the second digit. What is second digit? 2. Into multiplier. Third digit is multiplier. So into 10 power 2. Right? So 22 into 10 power 2. Plus or minus tolerance. Tolerance is how much? The fourth one is tolerance. So plus or minus, it is how much? 10%. So it is very simple. So first you have to write the first digit, then second digit into 10 to the power of the third. Third is also 2. So 10 power 2. This is the resistance. Plus or minus tolerance. Plus or minus tolerance is how much? 10%. So this is the resistance. So 22 into 10 power 2 means what? 2200 ohm. Plus or minus 10% of tolerance. So 2200 ohm is the resistance of this particular red and silver combination. Understood, children? So then how to is how to remember these values easily. So for brown it is 1, for red it is 2, for orange it is 3, yellow 4, green 5, blue 6, violet 7, gray color 8, and white 9, the tolerance. So how to remember? It is not compulsory to remember, but it is interesting thing. You can easily remember, right? So coming to how to remember this color code, right, children? So now we'll see, so what is the resistance of this one? So resistance is how much? 22 into 10 to the power of 2 plus or minus 10%. This is how we can calculate the resistance with the help of color codes. Now, how to remember easily the color code? So we have an interesting phrase here, a funny phrase and interesting phrase. Read, children, what is this phrase? B.B. Roy of Great Britain had a very good wife who wore gold and silver necklace. So this is a phrase. With this, you can easily remember. B.B. Roy. Let us consider B.B. Roy is a person. So B stands for black. Black is 0. Next B is for brown. Brown is 1. And Roy. In Roy, we have red color here. So red color is 2. Next, orange. Orange color is 3. Next, yellow color. Yellow color is 4. So B.B. Roy. B stands for black, 0 color code. Brown color code is 1. Red color code is 2. Orange color code is 3. And yellow color code is 4. So B.B. Roy of Great Britain. Again G, green color. So green color is 5. Green color is 5 from Great Britain. This B is for blue color. Blue color is 6. The color code is 6. Had a very good wife. This is violet. So violet color is, I am not sure whether it is in violet color or not. So violet, it is 7. Violet color is 7. Very good wife. This is G. Sorry. Good. This is gray color. And wife, W, is white color. So gray color is 8 and white color is 9. So this is a funny, interesting phrase. So B.B. Roy of Great Britain had a very good wife who wore gold and silver necklace. So the second line stands for tolerance. Gold, how much? 5%. Silver, how much? 10% tolerance. And nothing, 20% tolerance. So this is how we can have a easy way of remembering the color code. B.B. Roy of Great Britain had a very good wife who wore gold and silver necklace. So black, brown, red. Colors are continuous. Black 0, brown 1, red 2, orange 3, yellow 4, green 5, blue 6, then violet 7, gray color 8, white color 9, and gold 5% tolerance, silver 10% tolerance, and nothing 20% tolerance. So this is how we can remember this one. So with the help of this, let us try to solve one. Is it right? It's an interesting thing. Let us try to solve. Let's try this. This is a resistor. We have yellow color, violet color, and brown color, and gold. So we have 3: yellow, violet, brown, and gold. Then let us try to find the resistance of this one. We have a color code again. First digit. What is the first digit? Yellow. So yellow for 4. Second digit. What is second digit? Violet. Violet code is how much? 7. So violet code is 7. Third digit, multiplier. Third digit is what? Brown. So brown number is 1. So 10 power 1. And fourth digit is tolerance. Fourth digit is gold. So tolerance is how much? 5%. So it's very easy to write it, right? 4. What is the resistance? First digit 4 into 7 into 10 power 1 plus or minus 5%. This is in ohms. Okay, so total it is in ohms. So this is how we can find the resistance of carbon resistors with the help of color code. So you'll enjoy this in your engineering. So this is about how to find the resistance in color code. Okay, children. Right. So coming to our next topic, you can see a beautiful decoration. So a Diwali decoration, it might be a Christmas decoration. So beautiful decoration with the series bulbs. You can see this kind of decoration frequently. So how these bulbs are going to connect at the time of decoration? Yes, as you know, they are connected in series. They are known as series bulbs also, which are connected in series. So how the resistors are going to be connected in series? That is our topic now. So how they are going to connect in series? And what is the purpose of connecting in series? Right? So series combination of resistors. So that is our topic. So this is familiar to you already. You learned in class 10th. So how resistors are going to be connected in series? So we'll see. We have one resistor whose resistance is R1. Second resistor which is R2. And the third resistor which is R3. So how many resistors we have? 3 resistors. R1, R2 and R3. Now how to connect these to get series combination? Series combination means we have to connect end to end. See children, how I am connecting it. So end to end of first resistor to end of second to third. Like that, we have to connect end to end. So R1, R2, R3 are connected end to end connection. So this end to end connection is known as series combination. So what is the use of connecting this? So after connecting these 3 resistors in series, we can replace these 3. Listen children, we can replace these 3 and we can replace with a single resistor which is equivalent to all the 3. So whatever the result we are getting with the 3 combinedly, we are going to represent with a single one. So that is combination. So first we have individual resistors R1, R2, R3. Then R1, R2, R3 are connected end to end to get an equivalent resistance which is RS. RS stands for resistance in series. Right? Now let us try to find some mathematical information with this combination. So take a battery which provides the potential difference. Again, we are going to discuss detailedly about the battery in the next class. So plus and minus are positive and negative potentials, where it is maintaining a potential difference of V volts. You can see a battery and take a connecting wire and connecting it to the resistors, combination of resistors to one end, and take another wire and connect it to another end and complete the circuit. So this is how we can connect the resistors of series combination to the battery. So resistors are R1, R2 and R3. So this is how we connected series combination to a battery. So now the circuit is closed. So what will happen? These metallic resistors, the resistors are going to allow the current to pass through it. So how the current is going to flow? Let us see children. So from positive terminal of the battery, we know the direction of the current. Current direction is always from high potential to low potential. So it starts flowing like this. You can see the current starts flowing in this way. So I current flows in this way, and again it will come out through all the resistors. Same current will flow through all the resistors and it will come to the negative terminal of the battery. So this is how the current is going to flow through all the resistors. Same current, same I amount of current is going to pass through all the resistors. But potential is going to be divided. This is important. So at resistor 1, the potential is going to be V1, and at resistor 2, potential is V2, and at resistor 3, it is V3. So V1, V2, V3 are the potential differences at R1, R2, R3. So potential is going to be divided. Current is not going to be divided. Current is same. Current is same through all the three resistors. The potential is going to be divided. You can see at R1 potential is V1, at R2 V2, at R3 V3. The sum of these three will be equal to main voltage. From where we are getting this voltage? All from the battery. So from main voltage V is going to be divided as V1, V2 and V3. So let us try to find the equivalent resistance in series combination. So this is about the circuit. Now, very important point. Same current flows through all the resistors. Same current flows through all the resistors when they are connected in series. V1, V2, V3 are the potential differences. And the sum of those three will be equal to the main potential at the battery, at the cell. So from Ohm's law, we know that V is equals to IR, where R is the total resistance, equivalent resistance. And V1, you can see V1 is IR1, V2 IR2, and V3 is IR3. So now if you take I common, and you can cancel I left hand side and right hand side. So you will get R equivalent as R1 plus R2 plus R3. So this is very important formula. The equivalent resistance in series combination. If three resistors are connected in series, the equivalent resistance is R1 plus R2 plus R3. Simply we have to add all the three resistances when they are connected in series. How much current is going to flow through them? Is it same or different? Yes, same current will flow through all the resistors. That is important. Potential is going to be divided, current is going to be same. Now we'll see a very simple example for series combination. So we'll see three resistors. We have three resistors here. This is one, second resistor, third resistor. Say 5, and this is 10. This is 15 ohm. So we have three resistors connected in series. So first we'll try to find what is R equivalent. So what is R equivalent in series? R1 plus R2 plus R3. Simply you have to add all the three, that's it. So that is 5 plus 10 plus 15. 5 plus 10 plus 15 ohm. So this is how much? This is 5 plus 10, 15 plus 15, 30 ohm. So equivalent resistance is 30 ohm. Then what does it mean? By replacing all the three, this can be equivalent to, this is going to be equivalent to a single resistor whose resistance is 30 ohm. That is the concept. So instead of three resistors which are connected in series, we are replacing with a single resistor which is equivalent resistance of 30. That is the actually the combination meaning. Now if this combination is connected to a battery, if the same combination is connected to a battery, that is what? Same three resistors, 5, 10 and 15 ohm. Of course, the resistors are in ohm. And if it is connected to a 60 volt battery, this is connected to a 60 volt battery. Now how to find the current? How much current is going to flow through the circuit? For this purpose, we have to take the equivalent resistance. So these are connected in series. So equivalent resistance is going to be 30. So replace all the three with equivalent resistance 30 and battery. Battery is of 60 volts. Now we can calculate. So according to Ohm's law, what is the current? I is equals to potential difference by resistance, V by R. So V is how much? 60. You can see here. By what is R? 30. That is 2 amperes. So 2 amperes current will come from the battery. So same here also 2 ampere current will come. So same 2 ampere will flow through all the resistors. So what is the current flowing through the resistance means 2 amperes. So this is how the resistors are going to be connected in series and how equivalent resistance can be calculated according to the series combination. Now let us see, you can see a mains meter, a bulb and different components. This is how household power supply. In our houses, the different components, a fan, a bulb, tube light, these are all connected. So which combination it is? Is it series combination or parallel combination? Yes, this is parallel combination, not series combination. So now our next topic is parallel combination. So again, take a single resistance R1, R2 and R3. These are the individual resistors. Now how to connect in parallel? So how to connect them in parallel? So it is different from series. So we have to connect this one. All the ends to one side and all the second ends to another side. You can see all the resistors, one end is connected to one common point and second end is connected to second common point. So this is known as parallel combination of resistors. Now again, R1, R2, R3 are connected parallel combination and to get an equivalent resistance which is R parallel. So first they are individual and they are connected in parallel. Then again parallel combination will leads to a single resistor which is equivalent. So equivalent resistance in parallel. So now parallel combination, how the parallel combination is going to be connected to a battery. Take a battery again, which voltage V, potential difference and connecting wire. Take the connecting wires and connect the resistors like this. All the ends to positive and all the second ends to negative. This is the diagram, circuit is closed. So all one ends connected to plus, all other ends connected to minus. This is parallel combination. Understood, children? This is the parallel combination of current. Now if you switch on, the current starts from positive terminal, I current. See children, it is going in this way. So first I current will start from battery. It will move in this way and it will move till this it moves, and after this the current is going to be divided into 3 parts because it has to pass through all the 3 resistors. So current is going to divide. See children, this is the important point. The current which is entering to the junction which is going to divide. So split into 3 parts. The current is dividing into 3 parts and entering into 3 resistors. Like this is I1, I2, I3. I1, I2, I3, and again these currents are going to combine and they combined as I current and comes to negative terminal. So this is how the current is going to divide. Understood children? Current is going to divide in parallel combination. I is dividing into I1, I2 and I3. Voltage remains same because all are connected to same battery. So voltage remains same. So this R1 resistance, R2, R3, which is constant? Voltage is constant. I1, I2, R3, I3 are going to divide, whereas voltage is constant. So let us find the equivalent resistance in this combination. So which is constant? Potential difference is constant. You can see V is same at every resistor. And current is going to divide. So individual currents is equal to sum of the current. I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. And as you know from Ohm's law, what is I? I is equal to V by R. So V by R at resistor 1, you can see at first resistor V and R1. So V by R1, V by R2, V by R3. And if you simplify it, You'll get 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So this is about the equivalent resistance in parallel combination. 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R. Right, children? So we'll see one problem. Three resistors, each of resistance 10 ohm, are connected to obtain minimum resistance, maximum resistance. Interesting. Minimum resistance and maximum resistance. Compute effective resistance in each case. So in which case resistance is minimum and in which case resistance is maximum. So let us see. So first they are connected in which combination will take? First they are connected in series combination. So all the three are 10 ohm. So R1 is equals to R2 is equals to R3 is equals to 10 ohm. This is given. So first let us try to find in series 10, 10, 10. So what is R series? This is 30 ohm. Simple, R1 plus R2 plus R3. Now parallel. They are connected in parallel. How much? 10, 10, 10. Dear children, what is the effective resistance in parallel? 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 10 plus 1 by R2 10 plus 1 by R3 also 10. So 1 by 10, 1 by 10, 1 by 10. How much? 3 by 10. So 1 by R is 3 by 10. Most of the students will do the mistake here. R is not 3 by 10. 1 by R is 3 by 10. So 1 by R is 3 by 10 means what? What is R? R is equal to 10 by 3. So R in parallel combination is 3.33 ohm. So series it is 30. This is the maximum value that we can get. We cannot get more than 30 ohm in connecting in any way. And we cannot get less than 3.33. So 3.33 is the least value. This is minimum. So minimum combination we will get in parallel. Maximum we will get in series. Understood, children? In series combination, we will get resistance as maximum. In parallel combination, we will get resistance as minimum. So this is the combination of resistance, series and parallel. Now another example. This is very, very important, and once it is given in board exams also. A wire of resistance 4R is bent in the form of a circle. The effective resistance between the ends of the diameter. So first we have a resistor of how much? 4 ohm. Sorry, 4R. So this is a resistor with 4R. This is formed in the form of a circle. So they are asking about the diameter, between the diameter. So this is A and B are the two diagonally opposite points. So between these 2 points, we have to find the equivalent resistance. So between A and B, this wire is divided into 2 parts. This is one part and this is one part. So let us say this is A and this is B, two diagonally opposite points on the circle. So this is one part and this is another part. So total 4R is divided into 2 parts. So 4R is divided into 2 parts means this resistance is going to be 2R and this resistance is going to be 2R. So between these 2 points we have to find. So this 2R and 2R are connected in parallel as far as A and B are concerned. So effective resistance 1 by R effective is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So this is R effective. I'll say 1 by R effective is equals to 1 by 2R plus 1 by 2R. It is 2 by 2R. So 2 to cancel. So 1 by R effective is equals to how much? 1 by R. So therefore R effective is equals to again R. So the answer is going to be R. So first 4R resistor is connected to form a circle And what is the effective resistance between the diagonals? Is R only. The answer is R. So this is the procedure to solve the problems. Now, so what we have learned in this class, children? So let us try to recap it. We learned Ohm's law in terms of J and E. Ohm's law on the basis of electron drift, mobility of electrons, temperature dependence of resistivity, types of resistors, resistor color codes, and combination of resistors, which are series and parallel. And very important formulae that we learned in this class: E is equal to rho J, J is equal to sigma into E, sigma is NE squared tau upon M. The symbols have their usual meaning. Rho is M by NE squared tau. Mobility is drift velocity by electric field. Temperature coefficient of resistivity is rho T minus rho naught by rho naught into T minus T naught. Series combination, R is R1 plus R2 plus R3. Parallel combination, 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. These are the formulae we covered in this topic today. Let us try to answer these questions. Define temperature coefficient of resistance. That is what? Alpha. Why is manganese used for making standard resistors? You can find the answers for all these questions after the completion of this lesson. Again, you go through with this topic. The sequence of bands marked on a carbon resistor are red, 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 and silver. What is its resistance and tolerance? Write the color code of carbon resistor of 23 kilo ohm. Kilo means 1000. 23,000 ohms. Why are household appliances connected in parallel? And 3 identical resistors are connected in parallel to give a resistance of R by 3. Find the value of each resistance. And a wire of resistance 4R, this only I discussed this problem, same problem. A wire of resistance 4R is bent in the form of a circle. What is the effective resistance between the ends of the diameter? Very important question. That's why I discussed. Right? That's all for today's class. Thank you, madam, and thank you for the IR officials for giving this opportunity for me.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a wonderful session covering all the aspects which are required, which shows the relation between the various components in Ohm's law, and also you discussed about resistance in series as well as in parallels. Children, please compare this with the capacitance in series, capacitance in parallel, with the resistance in series and resistance in parallel. So you will know the analogous relationships between those two subtopics. Please refer to all the important formulae. The formulae, sir, what sir has discussed are very important in the view of your objective type examinations like NEET or JEE mains. You will be having numerous questions based on these formulae. So learn this formula by learning the concepts. Concepts are very important. When you know the concepts clearly, then you can deduce the formula on your own self with regard to the problem, whatever the problem that is given. So when you practice more problems, then you will understand this concept, then you can deduce the formula required for the problem. So please practice. Once again, go through this video, make your own notes, learn the fundamental concepts properly, and learn the formulae and practice more problems. Then you will have a comprehensive understanding about the topic. Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a elaborate explanation. Keep learning, children, keep learning and keep growing. Thank you, everyone.